guys, so I decided just randomly that I want to do a little like extended weekend vlog. And what I mean by that is that I'm starting on Thursday. So normally I don't do a lot of vlogs, maybe only once a month. And the reason for that is that it's hard for me to vlog in front of people. I just don't like to do it. No, I have children everywhere. I don't like to vlog in front of people, and my husband works from home. So just having time to vlog without him around is hard. But he is gone on a camping trip with my brother for this whole weekend. He left this morning at like 6 a.m. and he won't be back until Sunday afternoon. So I figured this is the perfect time to vlog. So I'm in the middle of 4 fantasy books right now. Normally I do read more than one book at a time, but I try to like spread out my genres. But it just happened to be that it just worked out. I mean, I guess when I'm doing my TBR, I put way too many fantasy books on there, and I normally do like one audiobook, one ebook, and then a physical book or two. And it happens to be that both of my physical books that are buddy reads are both fantasy. So this can be a lot of fantasy this weekend. I might end up having to like pick up something else if it's too much. So let me just show you what I'm reading this weekend. So my 2 physical books that are buddy reads are, the first one is Priory of the Orange Tree. It doesn't look like I'm very far because this is a huge book, but I'm 200 pages in. So I'm really hoping to get farther in this weekend because I am behind on the buddy read because it's just very dense and heavy to read. It's very high fantasy. Lots of names, lots of places, where multiple perspectives, like 4 different perspectives, and so it's just hard to like stay focused. Sorry if there's a lot of edits in this clip. My kids keep hitting the tripod, so I'm gonna try to edit those out. And then my other buddy read is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kimmerer, and this is a Beauty and Beast retelling, and this one is YA, and it's actually reading really fast. I'm ahead of my buddy read. I'm at page 200, and it is like, I think I am actually like 100 pages ahead of my buddy read. But I think I might try to finish this weekend just because I am enjoying it, and I figure it's going a lot faster than the Priory. And then Eliza's excited about this book. So can I have it for a moment? No, I'll look at the other one. So then my ebook is The Woman Who Rides Like a Man, which is the 3rd book in the Lana series. And I know that I have the physical book, but I just happen to also start it on ebook. I mean, I'll probably go back and forth. I'm about 2 chapters into this, so not terribly far, but I'm enjoying that. This will take probably a little bit to read just because when I do the ebook, I usually am reading it right before bed. I don't know, I might pick it up at other times if I get motivated. And then I was going to show you my audiobook, but Eliza won't give it up. But it is Dance of Steel by Jordan Rivett, which is the 3rd book in the Steel and Fire series. And I had read the first 2 a couple months ago, and I really wanted to continue. And I love the audiobooks of these. So I'm listening to that audiobook. I just started it. I'm only an hour into the audiobook, and it's a 14-hour audiobook, so not too far. So that's what I'm going to be reading this weekend. Hopefully these other clips won't be as kid heavy. Okay, just wanted to give you guys an update. So this morning after I talked to you, I dropped my older daughter off at preschool, and then me and Eliza, the younger one, we went to the mall so that she could play in the little play area because they have like a small enough play area that her being so little, she can play there. So after we did that, we came home and got lunch and everything, and then when my kids went down for their naps, I was going to just read a book, but then I ended up listening to more of Dance of Steel, and this morning I said I had listened to an hour, and now I think I'm at like 5.5 hours because I'm just like totally absorbed. Obviously I had to do it on a little higher speed, so it's not like 5 whole hours, but I've made it quite far. What is that? A little over a third maybe. And I'm really enjoying this. This series is a lot of fun. A lot of people say this is a very middle book and that it goes slower. And I don't know if it's because I'm listening to the audiobook, but I don't feel like it's going slower for me. Like, I am really interested. Like, what I love about her writing is that, like, I thought that we were, like, you know, at a climax and that we would be coming back down, but I feel like she just is adding more and more. Like, in this one, I can't tell you what's, like, happening, but we are seeing new places and meeting new like types of people, like ethnicities and stuff like that, and it is like really interesting to be building this world more. And so I am not finding it slow. Obviously I'm like devouring it, and so I am excited to keep going on this. Hey guys, so it is Friday night and I have not updated you at all today. The day just kind of got away from me, you know, when I'm alone with the kids, and the kids did not nap at the same time. They like did alternating naps, so it just wasn't a lot of free time today. So I'll update you on what I did last night. So after I talked, last night after the kids went to bed, I ended up listening to more of Dance of Steel, and this is pretty much all I read last night because I was just really into it. I'm at the 75% point. I think I only have like maybe 3 hours left, so definitely really enjoying this. I do get where people are getting the middle book syndrome from, because I really enjoy like the first third that I was telling you about, but towards the middle it did start to drag. I would say like this is 400-page book, so maybe for like 100 pages, maybe a little less, it was dragging out. But the first was really good, and now things are speeding up again. I may end up listening to this some later, I'm not sure. And then the other thing that I have been working on today, when I was able to, here and there, like when the kids were playing well together or whatever, I was reading A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and I don't know if I ever told you what this was about, and this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it kind of has the vibes like the movie Enchanted, where it's a mix of both like real world and a made-up world, because the Beast in this is like in a made-up fantasy world called Emberfall, but the Beauty, she is from our world, from Washington, D.C. So it has that mix of like modern people and all the information she knows about the modern world, and a whole other world that we are in. And we are in the like fantasy world, so it's kind of like the opposite of Enchanted. So I am really enjoying this. This just flies by. I've gotten really attached to our main protagonist, and the Beast is starting to grow on me and all that stuff. So I am enjoying it. So I think I'm at like the 60% point now. So I don't think I'm going to read it anymore today, because I read quite a bit today, and I'm kind of ready to put this down for the day. So what I'm doing now, my kids are both asleep, and I have the house to myself and quiet. So I'm actually like, I pour myself my glass of wine, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch a Hallmark romantic movie. I don't get to watch them very often because we only have the one TV in this place, and like it's in the main area, so obviously I don't watch TV during the day, and at night my husband doesn't really want to watch Hallmark movies, so since he's not here, I'm going to watch myself a nice romantic cute movie that I can predict that everybody's going to be happy at the end, and drink my wine, and then we'll see how much I will want to be listening to my book when I'm done. I might just want to go to bed. We will see. Hey guys, so it is Saturday, and continuing to talk about my reading. So last night I did end up watching a Hallmark movie called True Love Blooms, I think it was called, and it was cute, it was nice, exactly what I expected and what I wanted. But when it finished, it was only like 10 o'clock, so I decided to listen to more of Dance of Steel, and I actually got to where I was about 30 minutes from the end, and I was like, well, I'm really tired, and I kind of just want to not finish this book at like midnight, so, or actually it was probably after that, it was like 12:30, so I put it down and then listened to the rest of it right after breakfast this morning. And I did like this book, but I do say that it's definitely a middle book, because it's a 5-book series. This is the third. The first 2 are amazing, like really good, and this one was still good. I still would give it 4 stars, but there was a lot more of like world building as opposed to action. Like this is the biggest book so far in the series, but it had the least amount of action scenes, and I did really still like the characters and like what was happening. It was just that this is a bit more of a slow moving book than the other 2. But I finished that, happy to have finished it, and hopefully next month I will move on to the last 2, though this is the last one that I have the audiobook for, because that's only the first 3 are at my library in terms of audiobooks. So I have the physical copies of the next two, but you know when you've been listening to a series on audio and you just get used to hearing that person's voice, and so I'm kind of sad to be moving to the physical for the next two, but oh well. And then the other thing that I was reading this morning is The Woman Who Rides Like a Man, which is the third book in the Alana Song of the Lioness series. And I'd been doing this on ebook, but then I was physically reading it this morning, so I'm at about 100 pages, about, what is that, a third of the way through the book. And I am also not enjoying this as much as the other one. What is it, about third books in series? But there's still a lot left to go. So it could pick up. I've heard that this one is more heavy on the romance, and we haven't seen any of the romance yet. So hopefully when that starts happening, it'll get a little more interesting. Because right now it just kind of, I don't know, the first two books, she was just striving for something. We had a goal in mind, and now we are just kind of like chilling in one place and not really doing much. And so that's why I'm not like loving this as much, but I'm hoping that once the romance kicks in, there'll be something to focus on and have like something to draw the story along. So it is Saturday night. The kids have just gone to sleep, and I was reading some of A Curse So Dark and Lonely, but I've gotten to the point where I think that if I continue reading, I'm gonna have to finish it. Like, it's kind of getting towards the climax. And I had something else I wanted to do tonight, so I'm going to put this down until I finish that, and then possibly come back and finish this later tonight. But what I want to do, because I have one last night where I have complete control of the TV, is I want to watch the new rom-com on Netflix. I think it's called The Perfect Date. Yeah, and I'm just loving that Netflix now has rom-coms, because with the kids, I can't really go to the movie theater much anymore. So it's nice that every once in a while I get a brand new movie come to my house that I get to watch, and they're cute and fun, and so I'm excited to watch that one. And I also found out that this movie is based off of a book, which I didn't read the book, but the book is written by the same guy who's a screenwriter that wrote, at least partly wrote, The Sure Thing, which was a movie back in the 80s, early 90s, I can't remember. It starred John Cusack, and when I was in high school, was like a huge John Cusack fan, and like watched so many of his like 80s and 90s movies, like Say Anything, Better Off Dead, and The Sure Thing was my favorite. And just knowing that the same guy that wrote that screenplay wrote this movie, like, makes me really want to watch it. So I am super excited to watch that tonight. And then after that, it's only 8:30, so if I'm still plenty awake after watching that, then I will probably come back and read more of this. But I'm super excited for a nice little rom-com evening. So last night I did watch The Stand-In, and it was really cute, exactly what I wanted. And instead of turning it off and then reading afterwards, I ended up just watching stuff on Netflix until like 12:30 and then went to bed. And then today, originally my husband wasn't supposed to come home till late afternoon. It's really rainy, so I thought we would stay inside, the kids would play, I would get to do some reading, and then especially while they were napping. But on Thursday, when my husband was going down to camping, he ended up stopping and looking at some houses with the realtor on the way, and he saw one he really liked and wanted me to come see it. So now I'm going to be driving 2.5 hours with the kids to go look at this house, and then we also booked like 3 other ones that just came on the market. So we're going to look at 4 houses and then drive the 3 hours back home because the last house is farther south. So yeah, gonna be driving for 5.5 hours today and looking at houses. So not really any potential for reading except for possibly a audiobook, but I have the kids in the car, so it wouldn't be like one of my audiobooks that I am like wanting to read right now. So yeah, this day is kind of completely different than what I originally expected. Hey guys, it is Monday morning, and I was gonna update you last night, but after the long day of traveling and doing all that stuff, I just did not feel like filming. So I'm just gonna update you on kind of like what I read last night and kind of wrap up the vlog. So I said I wasn't going to be able to listen to audiobooks in the car. On the way there, that was true because I had the kids and everything. But on the way back, my husband and I switched cars, so I had the car that he had on his trip with no children. So that was nice. So for the 2.5 hours back, I ended up listening to an audiobook, which, what did I listen to? I started The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. This is one of my Tome Topple books, so since Tome Topple has officially started, I thought I might as well start this since I had finished my previous audiobook. And I got about 100 pages in of, I think this might be 500 some pages long. And I'm intrigued so far, but I'm still not sure if I'm loving it. I wanted to try this because even though I'm not a Twilight fan, I did like the host, so I felt like she has potential to write like some exciting kind of books, and this is supposed to be a spy thriller, so I thought I would give it a try. So this synopsis is really vague, and at first I wasn't really sure what it was about, but now that I've read a little bit, I kind of get it. And so our main character used to work for a government, like a clandestine government organization, so she was like doing really secret stuff, and on the back all it says is that she has special skills, and she is on the run, and then like they want her to do one last job in exchange for her freedom or whatever like that. So that's what the back of the book says. Well, I'm like, like I said, I'm 100 pages in, and I have now learned what her special skill set is. And there's something, okay, if you don't like to have any kind of spoilers whatsoever, then skip the next minute. I'll put a little spoiler thing here. This is all something that happens in the first 15%, so if you don't care about hearing that, then you can continue listening. But it does just say special skills in the back, so you might not want to know what her skill is, so you can move ahead. I'll put the spoiler on now. So there are certain things that I just can't handle in thrillers. I can do pretty well with a lot of action stuff about spy things, all that, but the thing that I'm not good at all is torture, of any kind. I just don't do well with it. On TV, I have to fast forward through those parts. I used to watch 24 a lot, and I would always fast forward through this torture. Same way with Alias, my best friend, I used to watch that, and we would every time fast forward or just cover our eyes during the torture. I just don't do well at torture. And it turns out her special skill set is chemical torture. So she's a chemist, like the book says. She's actually a biomolecular engineer or something like that. But it has ways of getting people to talk without showing physical injury. So by using basically syringes and different chemical compounds to torture people from the inside and make them talk. And there are within that first 15% that I read, there are torture scenes, and it was just hard for me. So I'm kind of wondering if I need to DNF this book, but it feels like maybe it'll move away from that, and that even though that's her skill set, that we won't have a bunch of those scenes. I'm hoping at this point I'm going to keep going because I think we finish that torture session, but if it happens again, I'm probably gonna have to put this down because I can't handle that. It doesn't matter if it's chemical or physical, I just can't do torture. Alright, spoiler section done. So yeah, so I'm not gonna talk anymore about what I just talked about spoilers, but it is a possibility that I might not continue this because of that, but I will give it a little more chance and see what happens. So, and then the other thing that I finished last night was A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I really enjoyed this book. I'm trying to decide if I want to give it a 4 or 5 stars. I'm still kind of figuring it out because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very easy to follow, very easy to read, and that last 100 pages was woo, a lot of excitement, a lot of stuff happening, and I really did enjoy it. I just am kind of grumpy that it's a series because I really just kind of wanted it all to wrap up in one book, and I think it could have, but I could see where she also can. There are enough open threads I could see how she can make it a series, but I don't want to be one of those series where it should have just been a standalone and the next 2 books are going to drag on. So I'm hoping that it'll turn out to be a great series, but I'm just a little skeptical at this point based on this first book. This was great, but I'm just skeptical whether it will make a good series, is what I'm saying. And then I did finish a little bit of Alana last night in my ebook version right before bed, so I'm about the halfway point. So that is what I did yesterday. So just a little summary about my weekend reading vlog. I said at the beginning I had 4 fantasy books I was working on. I did finish 2, so I finished the audiobook for Dance of Steel, which was really good, and finished Curse So Dark and Lonely, which was really good, and halfway through Alana. I did not touch the Priory of the Orange Tree, which is bad because I was already behind on my buddy read. But now that I finished those, I should be able to focus that as my physical book for the next few days, since this will just be an audio. And that is it. That's all I had. Oh, I guess I should say, because I was talking about looking at houses, we did not find the house yesterday. Like, we looked at a few and there were some. It's like one of those things where you find one that, like, the house is perfect, but the property isn't exactly what you wanted. And then another one where the property is perfect, but the house is not, you know. So it's like, I want to take this house and put it on this property, and you can't do that. So we are still on the hunt. And that is it for me. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye.